So, day one. Yes, I am in the tub. Yes, I am having my own little free time. Getting myself beautified. Let's talk about certain things. I come from a very different country. When I was growing up, people don't know this, but when I was growing up, I grew up in a communist country, okay? Communism was alive and well in Kazakhstan when I was growing up. And it's not racism or white and black issue or policing. This is actually what the government and the people that pretty much run the country are responsible for. I grew up in an orphanage. I was in orphanage from, I believe, 5 years old till about good 13, 14 years old. So, first orphanage, we had over 200 kids in a 5-story building. We had at least 8 to 12 people in one room. You literally come in and you see beds. One dresser, bed, dresser, bed, dresser, bed, dresser, like all throughout. And the closet space. I'm telling you, you have one long ass closet, which is maybe 6 by 6, I would say, maybe even less than that. That's the space you have for yourself, okay? Food and clothing and just being aware that you are a human being and they're profiting off you. It's crazy to me. We all look the same. We all look the same. Okay, from the hairstyles to the clothing that they provided for the orphan kids, all across the board, from whoever, whatever age you are, to up when you graduate from the orphanage and go on to your own living. We wear the same clothing, the same shoes, exactly the same hairstyle, exactly the same makeup, and everything else. Literally everything that you experience in your life right now and fighting for your own uniqueness, we were stripped away from that. That's my first orphanage that I was in. When I was 8, I went to a public school, and the hatred and the misunderstanding that I was going through that time, I ran away from orphanage. I literally just went into school. We had a little bit of free time outside. They call it, health class or whatever. Nowadays, they turn it all around and make it all healthy for you. This is for kids to go on and just literally breathe fresh air for like a good half hour. Play on the monkey beams, climb around, do whatever you need to do to get your issues out until you come back to class, because you cannot say no to the teacher. You cannot just walk out of class. You can't, you get beat. Yeah, you get beat. So I ran away. Me and another three classmates, we all from orphanage. We all didn't have a lot of going on. We came out, we played around. I don't know how the subject came around to run away, or, it's been so long ago, I don't even remember what was all happening. But, yeah, I ran away when I was 8. From orphanage, from the government, from whoever was trying to oppress me. And I lived on the streets for about a year. My experience on the street taught me way more than any kind of class setting, any kind of orphanage guidelines, whatever the hell you want to call them. Way more. I had to fight for my own food. I was digging in the trash cans looking for food as a young girl that could not get food any other way. I didn't reserve myself to selling my body for food as a young adult, especially in that time. Pedophilia and all this sex trafficking is just all crazy, but it never made me stoop down so low to sell my own body. And the reason I say that is because a lot of these guys and a lot of these nowadays people that I tell my story to always like, oh my God, you were such a young kid. Something would have happened to you. You could have been in a whole different situation. Let me tell you something. This right here, this right here in your brain right here. If it doesn't settle with any kind of demographics of society, what can you do? You either educate yourself, expand yourself, reach out, and change yourself. Now, we're in 2020, And I mean, there's so much more to my story that I haven't discussed because it's just day one. This is just me starting to record myself and maybe put it in a book. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But people say, you know, there's no a real validation of Christianity, or there's no real validation for any kind of aspect of another being, a higher being than your own self. I lived in the street for a year, for a whole year, as an 8-year-old in my country, in Kazakhstan, third world country, to you, and I survived. Never once I got approached by a male, or by police, or by anybody that would want me to do something that I wasn't willing to do. Literally, none. The only reason that I got caught is because the cops, well, the cops are shitty everywhere, but the cops caught us. There was 5 of us that got caught that day. We were at the little market. It's literally like a little tiny ass, it's nothing to do with like 7-Eleven here or Shell gas station or nothing like that. This is just a little pub in the middle of nowhere, just put on the street, like dragged by the semi-truck or a truck and just planted right there. We call those little markets. We have a lot of them in Kazakhstan that sell, you know, pastries and bread, and sometimes they sell their own fruits and things like that from home. They just call them little cabbies. They just park them in the streets and sell that stuff. I came up to the cashier. At that time, I remember we went to Green Bazaar and we did a little, you know, when you're a kid, you gotta survive. You do little shady things. We were stealing. So we stole a good amount of money and we went to the market. We were just, I mean, kids. We're gonna buy candy, gum, snacks, whatever else we needed at 8 years old. Like, what else you need? Candy was like the biggest thing, especially for an orphan kid. Not so much candy, but like gum, any kind of little things that we don't have growing up, right? So I come up to the kiosk. I hand my 5 tenge. 5 tenge. Tenge is the dollar bill. In Kazakhstan, we call it ruble, tenge. From ruble to tenge is 2 different things because Russia and Kazakhstan are 2 different countries, and we use tenge and Russia use rubles. I handed my $5 or 5 tenge, and all of a sudden I feel this tap on the shoulder, right? And in my head, I'm thinking it's one of my friends, right? Because there was like 5 of us. 2 of my other friends turn around and they're screaming at me saying, "Hey, run." That was our biggest thing. If you are in the group and one of them telling you to run, we were learned that means to run. They're watching out for you. And street kids, for some reason, it's like a gypsy tribe of its own. We were called gypsies back in my country. If you revert back to here in the United States, that's somebody who doesn't need anything. They can literally sustain themselves by themselves. They can grow their own food. They can, list goes on. As I turn around about to run, this guy grabs my collar. I think I was wearing a hoodie, so he grabbed either my collar or my hoodie. Something over here grabbed me and just like pulled me back. I turn around and there was, I would say 7 to 8 cops that were just literally out there looking for runaway orphan kids that were living on the streets, asking for food and stuff like that to take us back where we're getting oppressed. Taking us back to orphanage. But the process, when you get back to orphanage, is so horrifying and so different. That's why a lot of kids run from that. And that was me. Coming back, they take us to a separate building. We call it ZPR. ZPR is like a juvenile hall detention center in America. You got barbed wires, you got rails on the windows. There's no escape. No escape. Everything is locked down. The prison, literally the guards are wearing uniforms. The staff is wearing uniforms. And that's where you get taken to, off the street, to that demographic, right? We're getting taken to this demographic. I spent 7 months there before they placed me into another orphanage, right? So 7 months living in juvenile detention center as a minor, 8-year-old and some. Don't know a lot what's going on, right? And in the ZPR, they don't do what they do here. They separate the adults from the young kids, right? They don't just put you in the same situation, right? Orphanage years go all the way from 5 to 16. And we all in the same household, okay? Like brothers and sisters, whatever demographic you want to put on this. We're all together. So that the older kids, they've been brainwashed for so long. Okay? They become the oppressors in these demographics. ZPR orphanage, what you call it here. I don't even know what you call it here, because the system here is way more fucked up than what we got going on in third world country. Okay, that's just done. Okay. I grew up with a lot of same kind of minded people as me in orphanage, straight up. The way we thought about the police and the authority in our situations growing up was very different than what we got going here. Here they tell you to respect your authority, to listen what they gotta say, they will guide you, you know. In Kazakhstan, that demographic was so different. We had our higher ups telling us that we were not gonna amount to anything. We were whores, prostitutes, beggars, lowlifes, living orphanage. We're not gonna amount to anything in society. We're just gonna be dead, be gone, and might as well just pretty much they're telling us to end our life from a young age. While they're oppressing us and telling us to end our life, they're telling us to act a certain way, dress a certain way, be a certain way, right? So I struggled with this kind of life set for a long time. 9 years old until 14. Those are my teenage years, that when kids are exploring, learning different things, starting to grow a little backbone, starting to really learn about who they are within themselves, right? So that took away all of that process from us as orphan kids. It was taken away. It was not allowed. It was not a demographic that you can bring and sit down and discuss and you know. Coming United States. You guys really twisted this shit and made it okay to be suppressed as an adult. If they couldn't suppress you, or like me, as when I was young, now they're telling me to suppress who I am as an adult. So let me put it this way. So as a young kid, you struggle to become who you are, right? Be what you are, learn the experiences, educating yourself, growing, right? Becoming an adulthood when things and responsibility hit, right? But here now in America, I'm experiencing the same thing. I'm working as a caregiver, as a CNA, and I've been dealing with this demographic for a long time, since I've become a CNA. That was back in 2017. I started as a housekeeper and a laundry personnel in a nursing home back in Montana. And I slowly got into the nursing industry. I love the nursing industry, by the way. I love what I do. But you almost brainwashed to navigate a certain way around a nursing home, a certain way around your higher-ups, a certain way around your own team players. The same people that do the same exact thing as you do. Okay? I just don't sometimes understand how we as kids, we go through so much already. And then we get put in adulthood. And once again, we have to go through the same thing. Parents now are your advocates. Anybody who is called a supervisor, you gotta listen to them or otherwise. Isn't that crazy? Or it's just me? Because every time my coworker is telling me that, hey, so-and-so wants to talk to you in the office, and they're the ones that are actually, the way they're telling you is like they're afraid for you. It's like, as soon as I walk into the office, I'm gonna be killed, taken off the street. Like, they make it seem like the authority around here, the authority, somebody who appoints somebody who appoints somebody who appoints somebody is the authority over you. And they're telling you, so-and-so wants to talk to you in the office, and they're really afraid of for you. That is crazy to me. I've never been afraid of authority. Never. Not the cops, not the president, not the Queen Elizabeth, who the fuck. Authority is just people like me and you. So when they threaten that, or when they bring that up like a threat, I'm like, okay, good to know. I'll go and talk to them. Totally cool, right? Totally cool. So you go, and you come in the office. That's another reason that a lot of people are scared of authority. Is you come in the office, and the authority peer personnel, like the ones that management and the higher ups and the DON and administrator, whoever the fuck is in authority personnel that appointed, right? I know I'm probably repeating myself right now, but whatever. You come in, and they're talking to you like you're a fucking child, like you're a fucking their child. telling you what to do and how to act and what you did. Hell no. First of all. Second of all, I'm my own human being, okay? Okay, no authority is going to tell me what to do, how to dress, and how to be. Okay? There's guidelines for that. Okay? If you follow the guidelines, you're good. Supposedly. If you don't follow authority, you're also good. Why they call you a rebel here? It's crazy. It's crazy. The education system here is fucked up. The adoption system here is fucked up. I guess maybe this is the point when I talk about pro-choice people. If you're so pro-choice, you like cannot help yourself to help those little human beings inside my body. You cannot help that. Maybe you should look at foster care system in America. Because it's fucked up. Really, it's fucked up. It's a slave industry, okay? Orphanage is a slave industry, okay? So all your people that are so pro-choice, I mean pro-rights and pro-whatever. Oh, wait, hold on. Pro-life. Pro-life people, right? Not pro-choice because I'm pro-choice. Like, you have to have a choice to choose what the fuck you want to do with your own fucking body. Or anybody around you. Or what you want to do with your life. But coming back to the same demographic and discussion about being an orphan kid myself from a third world country, coming here and learning about the foster care system here. And how you guys choose who is going to be ending up in those foster care systems. All these pro-life people, I don't understand. If you're pro-life and you really, really care about this human little being that supposedly is already a being before you even had a fucking kidney to process anything in your body without you giving them permission to literally do that. But since you are so, like, lit and saying, save the babies. Save the motherfucking babies that are existing right now in foster care. Okay? You don't adopt them. You don't help them. They're getting abused left and right. They're being treated as slave fucking people. Like you literally putting them at your home so they can do the house chores for your ass because you're too lazy to do it for yourself. And you got all this money that's coming from the government to help your ass to sustain yourself and nobody else. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Because I think the orphanage back at home are way better than what you got going on here. The government don't even look at half of those cases. And why one family can choose only girls into the household. And why one family can choose only boys into the household. Orphanage, you ain't got that problem. There's boys, girls, infants, young kids, old kids, all across the board. They're all shoved in one little place and boom, boom, learn from each other like, that's it. You want to sustain yourself, you cook for yourself. You want to have a clean house, you clean for yourself. You want to have a nice clothing, you save your clothing. You don't wear nice shit out and about and in the ground and outside. You save that shit because you know next time it's not going to come through, right? Here, it's crazy. They buy all this shit for all these foster kids, right? They provide them education and all these things. At the same time, they're oppressing them by saying, just because I'm paying for all this, you gotta do this. Sounds like slave owners to me. I'd rather go out and live on the streets and pick out trash and ask people for food than to degrade myself in my own head to somebody who can control me like that. Who can tell me I'm gonna give you a piece of food, piece of crumb, because I owe you now. Like, what? Crazy. Crazy. And I can go on and on and on and on about explaining where I come from, where I learned throughout living this life. I'm 33 years old, okay? I have a lot to learn still. I'm not saying that I'm just the well-educated person there is in the world, but no, I'm not. But I've lived it long enough in this world, and I've experienced enough in this world, as a 33-year-old, to tell you that all this shit that's going on in America right now is fucked up. Fucked up. And of course, now I look Asian, right? Everybody's gonna be coming at me because all this Asian racism against blacks and Asian racism against white and whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm not racist.
I'm not going to say that just to justify certain things. I'm just not going to say that at all because in my head, I didn't even hear that there's different colored people that get oppressed for their color of skin that they cannot help with. We never heard that. Maybe in China, not in Kazakhstan. No. There's words like Christianity against Muslims. Yeah, maybe that. We have Catholicism all over. We have Protestants all over, and Muslims all over. So yeah, there might be a little fight in the religion aspects, but never racism. And when I come here and I hear about all these light skin, dark skin, different, it's like, what is going on? I am so fucking confused. Because all I see is people. I see people struggling, people learning, people adapting, people educating themselves. All I see is people. Human race. And I love the fact that I can dip myself into another culture. For me, that's the best education that you can come up with. Best education. Because other people from other countries that have like the roots of their ancestry, they can teach you some bomb ass shit. How to sew, how to take care of yourself, how to clean, how to cook, how to save yourself some money and brain cells to not stretch yourself so thin that you're gonna complain about everything and anything and be so angry at your life the whole entire time. We don't have that. You live and learn, and you put on, you have a thick skin to say, hey, no, this is not for me. And that's exactly why I ran away from orphanage 3 times. I had my head shaved. I spent time in ZPR, which is a juvenile hall detention here. But that's for orphan kids, okay? That's only for orphan kids. Not from runaway people, not from runaway kids in Kazakhstan. This is just solely for kids that got abandoned by their parents, or the government took away the kids from the parents because they could not sustain their life, right? And then you put that into that demographic, and then shit just gets worse. And my experience, what I experienced throughout my life, through my childhood, through my first years of teenage years, that is supposed to be happy and you're supposed to experience childhood and shit like that, I didn't need that, and I do not need that right now. You know why? You need to stop treating every single kid like a kid. Because sometimes kids grow up way too early, way beyond your years. They call them old souls. They call them geniuses. They call them unique. Those are the ones that follow their own path. They don't need the authority or the government or whoever is in charge telling you what to do, how to say and what to do, what to wear, how to be, how to act, that you're not going to amount to anything, that you're just going to be like this and this and this. It's crazy to me that you guys have that loop here. And it's like a little roller coaster. It just keeps going around and around and around and around. Brainwashing you. Telling you that as soon as you step out of the norms of society or the law, you're pretty much going to die. Like, live by society norms and the laws, or don't, and then there's death. How does that make sense to anybody who is so elevated and cognitively aware of what's going on and what's being done to you? I don't understand how people still believe the foster care system is bringing any good to anybody. Or orphanage. And you know what they made us to do in orphanage? This is funny shit. And yeah, it exists right now. It actually is going on right now in Africa with all the new schools that Oprah is building in some of those little countries right there in Africa. When a white guy, higher up guy, some ambassador comes in, everybody's singing and smiling and acting like they're happy. That's a front. I used to do that. You rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. Your body will be hurting. You rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed for all these bosses. They're gonna come to the orphanage to see how things are done. We have to put out a show for them. We have to sing and dance for them. We have to cook for them. We have to clean for them. Just so they can come and see how you're doing. How you doing. You mentally doing. You physically doing. They don't see none of that. We rehearsed that shit 2 weeks prior. You just hear like ripping the benefits of what we did. I'm just confused. And now, like, the whole, you should vote. It's 2020. If you don't vote, it's like a genocide. You like killing people because you vote. Who's killing who? The government's been doing that for years. The higher-ups, whoever, the wealthy people have been doing that for years. And now, since it's 2020, you think it's going to change something? Capitalism is built on backs of other people that they're oppressing every single day. And people's like, oh, I grind so hard. I work like for 20 years in a 9 to 5 job. I grind hard. Now I'm having my own business. Like I'm the boss, and like I will make this happen. I don't have to work for nobody. Honey, let me put this way to you. All your suppliers, the suppliers that you get your product from, like your basic essential products from, are still run by the wealthy people. So just because you own your own business and work for yourself and you ain't gonna explain yourself to nobody else, those people that you get product from, they still work for the oppressive regime that's going on. So just because you grind so hard for 20 years, you still don't think of the people that are going to be grinding for another 40 years to provide you product so you can build your own business and you're going to rely on nobody else except those essential workers that make the product. They get oppressed. I don't understand it. It's like, who you voting for? Who are they going to fix this? They're not going to fix shit. Morality of everything is wealthy are just going to be wealthy. Oppressed are going to be oppressed, because there's always have to be somebody that you have to oppress, right? I just don't understand how money and your own business can change your value of morality to forget about everybody around you. I don't see that. I can't comprehend that. I'd rather work till I'm 60, 90 years old, breaking my back every day, working for essential people, working with essential people, working for people that are oppressed, help them out as best I can. Best I can for 8 hours or 16 hours or how many hours I'm working that day. That's my morality. I'd rather do the hard work for the rest of my life, because I know hard work is not going to benefit only me. Hard work is going to benefit me because I work hard for it. Yes, it's going to give me money to buy my own house, to buy my own car, to sustain myself, my livelihood, hang out with my friends, go do things. But at the same time, just because I'm making all this money does not change who I am, because I still care for those people that are getting oppressed every day. And that's why I break my back every day helping other people that cannot take care of themselves anymore, because they lived a life of oppression, and now they're in a nursing home still being oppressed. They made all the money, they were